Aloha mai kako, a komamai to curtain call, a weekly program of reviews, previews, interviews, and features of and or with the great art and artists on Maui and beyond. I'm Paul James Brown. The latest exhibit at the Schaefer International Gallery of the Maui Arts Cultural Center features two women artists, Mauiʻs Chenta Laury and Holly Wong, who hails from San Francisco. Ms. Wong's exhibit, entitled Mending Body, Mending Mind, is a series of installations utilizing silk, cotton, organza, and lace, LED lighting, and video projections, and one entitled She, which is colored pencil on drafting film. She is mind-bogglingly complex installation. It has an energy that gives it motion, even though each part is securely fastened to the ceiling by a web of transparent threads. It seems as if the various pieces, I counted 15, are interacting with each other like a flock of birds. Every one of the pieces of the installation has a unique color palette and design. Contemplating how Ms. Wong did this feels impossible as one examines each of the segments of the installation. The viewer cannot help but be awestruck by her skill, creativity, and invention. Quilt Suspensions is a series of 4 three-dimensional silk cotton organza works with LED lighting behind them. They hang on the wall like paintings. They are extremely colorful, and the lights behind imbue them with kinetic energy. Each one is a different shape, which imparts individuality. Despite they are all made of the same media, they almost dance on the walls. The final work of Ms. Wong's is the title piece, Mending Body, Mending Mind. This is a multimedia work which includes the voice of the artist reciting 2 poems. The viewer will be able to pick up headphones and the sand disk that goes with it and listen to her perform dramatic readings of 2 poems by Aya Karpinska, Transformation and Death, while one considers the images of fabric cutting, hand and machine sewing on one projection and hair braiding on the other. These are projected on what resembles a kapakai clothesline with patchwork trousers hanging from it. This is a much more solemn work than the rest of her exhibit, and it leaves the viewer with the profound sense of the pain of domestic violence. Chenta Laury is from Oahu, but is now a Maui artist. She specializes in felt work, and there is a basket of felted wool at the exhibit's front desk, which I encourage the viewer to touch to get a sense of what Ms. Laury is doing with this media. She is presenting 4 unique thematic installations. They are Pu'uhana, a place of refuge, patchwork, microscopy, and installation. Her largest piece is from the Pu'uhana series, and it is the first of her pieces the viewer is likely to see. It is 10 feet by 10 feet by 11 inches high. It looks like a bottomless pit, or the essence of a black hole. It calls to the viewer to dive in like Alice in the Looking Glass. It is an entirely beguiling work. Incremental 2 is part of the Patchwork series. It's a colorful, explosive work in felted wool and thread. The color-filled light on the right part of the work seems to be bursting from the darkness on the left of the work. This one from the Patchwork series is Patchwork Incremental. It is wake, mulberry tree. Ms. Laury tells the viewer she soaks and pounds the wake in the manner of the traditional Hawaiian kapa, but she prefers to refer to it as tapa, quote, as it is intentionally and aesthetically distinct from the traditional kapa, unquote. Whatever it is, the piece is elegant, understated, and finely crafted. Another from the Patchwork series is Botanical Cycle. This work is hand-dyed and felted wool and silk thread, plant dye, alea, oleana, logwood, Brazil wood, ulu leaf, lilikoi leaf, comfrey leaf, uki berry, elderberry, walnut hull, avocado seed, and rhubarb. What a remarkable recipe, and what a stunning piece. The artist tells the viewer she is trying to show the cycle of plants from root to leaf. One of the things the viewer may be struck by is how much this medium looks like leather. Also, the subtlety of the hues adds to the overall impact of the work. Her other series is Microscopy. She recreates in needle felted wool and in one work, cotton crochet thread, what you would see of various plants if you looked at them through a microscope. Some of this work may remind the viewer of another amazing Maui artist, Kudra Clover. Here is an example of Ailanthus integrifolia, or white cirrus. Here is photomicroscopy of Kiina nagrensis. And here is Ms. Laury's representation of it in needle-felted wool. Extraordinary work, to say the least. This final one is Cornus Cosa, or Chinese dogwood. This work is resource. Corriedale wool on felt. The center is so much like sunlight the viewer may feel the need to put sunglasses on or move to an air-conditioned area to escape the heat one can almost feel coming from it. One viewer was heard to mention it was like being drawn to the light. The final work of Ms. Laury's is Limbo, made of ironwood roots and waxed thread. It is a series of unique ironwood weavings suspended in midair, each with its individual identity and a group identity in relationship to the neighboring works as well as the piece as a whole. As the viewer strolls around and through the work, one will be struck by the way the work transforms from different perspectives. It is on a par with the profundity of Ms. Wong's Mending Body, Mending Mind. There was something about it that said concentration camp and gave me the heebie-jeebies. Jonathan Yukio Clark, the gallery director, and his exhibits coordinator, Peter Holland, have raised the bar again with this exceptional exhibit. The viewer will be struck by the delicate intricacy of the installations and the remarkably difficult work it was to provide them with the pleasurable profundity these artists have created. This show is open until October 28th. The Schaefer International Gallery is free admission and is open Tuesday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., and prior to select Castle Theater events. It's a gorgeous show by two exceptional artists. Don't miss it. Last week at ProArts Playhouse in Kihei, Maui's new premier music venue to showcase the remarkable musicians we have here, Tempa Naor kicked off the first in their 3 shows they are performing in there. This was their New Orleans show. I have seen Tempa with Soul Kitchen and in solo and duo performances for many years, but this venue brought a new Tempa to me. She was not trying to be heard over the noise of a barroom crowd. She was engaging, completely in command of the audience, and absolutely charming. Her stories, especially the naughty one, were revealing as well as humorous, and she had the audience entirely gripped and anticipating the next moments. And her singing, which has always been wonderful, was the best I have ever heard. Her range is seemingly limitless, and she possesses a stunning chest voice as well as her well-known and superior head voice. Accolades have to go to Bruce Bogey, who did the sound for this show. The balance between the vocals and the instruments was perfect. It felt like I was in one of the intimate venues in New York City. She unveiled a brand new original, Hot Tamale Baby, that was blues rock zydeco. She definitely has Cajun in her DNA. She was accompanied by Naor, whose mom was in the audience, and they did Mama's Cookin' for her. And they had David Fraser on keys, accordion, and harmonica as their special guest. Also, the visuals they had added tremendously to the show. They have 2 more shows planned, a blues on October 20th with Jimmy Dillon, and country on November 10th with Arise and Hitzig. The night I was there, the house was nearly filled. Knowing Maui's Coconut Wireless, the next 2 shows will be the hottest tickets in town. Keep your eyes on the ProArts website or get on their mailing list so you don't miss out. That's Curtain Call for this week. Thanks for spending time with me. I'm Paul James Brown. Maui strong. Ahui ho.
Well, let's all go to the side and go camp. Here we go now. Take your shoes off.